Lucky for you, recording and creating content for Apex Legends isn't too difficult. Unlike with most other games that are out right now, there's little interest or demand in videos with crazy edits. With Apex, you're able to quickly record a match or two and create a video shortly after, and I'll show you just how to do it. Stay until the end of the video, as I have tips to help you give your videos a little pop. I'll first start with your recording software and the settings. My personal recommendations for recording software are OBS, NVIDIA's Shadowplay, and AMD's Relive. If you would like videos on how to set up any of these programs I just listed, let me know in the comments. What I'll be showing on the screen will be OBS, but the settings should be around the same for the software you plan on using. Before we get started with the recording settings, let's get our audio set up first. After setting both desktop audio and mic auxiliary audio to the correct devices, you're going to want to check the audio levels. Your normal speaking volume should land within the yellow area, which is around -10 dB to -20 dB. These levels can be changed in the editing software after recording, but if your recorded audio is too loud, which causes distortion, then there's very little you can do to save your recording after the fact. Now for the recording settings. The following settings tend to be the most consistent in terms of performance and quality for my testing. Please keep in mind that the quality of your videos will be competing with videos that are pulled from live streams. Squeezing out the highest possible bitrate and taking a performance hit will do you absolutely no good. After creating a scene, adding a window capture source, setting the window to Apex Legends, and doing a couple test recordings to make sure everything looks and sounds okay, you're good to go. Just a heads up, the setup process for Shadowplay and Relive are a lot different visually compared to OBS, but remember that you just need to change the audio to the correct device, set the video bitrate, set the encoder, change the FPS, set resolution to what was shown on the screen, and you're ready for testing. After you're finished recording your gameplay, it's time to hop into a video editor. I personally prefer Adobe Premiere Pro, but Sony Vegas, Adobe After Effects, and DaVinci Resolve are also popular choices. Once again, what actions I'm doing on screen will be different for you if you're using a different software. The basics of what I'm telling you, however, will be the exact same. After creating your scene or project with the settings of the video you recorded, it's time to navigate to your recording and drag it into the editing software. Take a quick scrub through your video and make sure that there aren't any visual artifacts and that the audio is okay. If you need a volume change, go to the effects panel for your audio and look for a setting that's usually labeled volume or level, and increase and decrease that value as needed. Try your best to stay out of the red if there's nothing loud going on. There are two tools that you will be using throughout this entire project, and those will be the selection tool, which looks like a cursor, and the cut/razor tool. With that being said, the selection tool will be used to move tracks around on the timeline. For the cut tool, you're going to click two areas on the footage you supplied, and that will then isolate that area from the rest of the footage, and you can do whatever you want with that clip. In this video, we'll simply be removing the clip, but there will be times where you're going to want to just decrease the volume in that selected area, add some sort of visual effect, or just place it somewhere else in the timeline. If you want to make changes to just an audio track or just the video and other things are moving around when you don't want them to, just right-click the video and look for an option called Unlink or Group/Remove from Group. Now armed with the fundamentals, we're going to go through the video and remove the dead time with the razor tool by selecting 2 points in the timeline, the start and end of the dead time, then remove that area. A section of the video a little too loud compared to the rest? Use the razor tool and select the area, then navigate to the effects control panel once again and decrease the level or volume. You can fade effects in and out, but that's a little outside the scope of today's video. Let me know if you'd be interested in that at all. I heavily encourage you to experiment with your software and clips as much as possible. There's this thing called plugins, which you'll soon find out is something you'll never live without. Now then, it's time to add a little something to make your video pop. The number one thing that I suggest people to do with their footage is to add a bit more saturation to the video. You absolutely do not want to overdo this because your footage will end up looking like total donkey dookie. Open up your effects panel and search for something along the lines of vibrance, saturation, or lumetri color. Any of these will work. I set my saturation to 150. It brightens the screen up without being too obnoxious, and it keeps the colors from being completely blown out. This step isn't necessary, but I find Apex videos that are a little more saturated a little more fun to watch. Make sure to experiment with that value along with whatever effects you can find. Now the tip is also outside of the scope of this video and makes the rendering process a whole lot longer, but I do suggest adding a small amount of RSMB or Real Smart Motion Blur to the video to make it appear a bit smoother. Alright, Now that everything is finished, you've added what you've wanted, you've watched your video back a few times, your audio levels are perfect, your jump cuts are natural and don't appear forced, and you're happy with how the video looks, it's time to render the video and upload it to YouTube. Head up to the file in the top left, look for something that says export or render, and get ready to change some settings. The following settings are personal preference. Change format to H.264, match your source video's resolution and frame rate, experiment with hardware/software encoding and see which one is faster. By the way, there will be no visual difference, just the render time. Then constant bitrate or variable bitrate to pass. I personally don't see a difference after it's uploaded to YouTube, so I just do constant bitrate. And then set the target/maximum bitrate equal to whatever your recording was set to, which will either be 30 megabits per second or 40 megabits per second. Audio should be AAC, 48 kilohertz sample rate, 320 bitrate, and make sure the range is set to your work area instead of something else. Once all the settings are changed, don't forget to save this as a preset and hit the export or render button. All of the settings that you can change on YouTube are completely up to you. However, I would suggest changing the visibility of the upload to private until the video is done processing. Now, with all that being said and done, all you have to do now is get this process down to muscle memory and you'll be editing and uploading your videos to YouTube in less than 30 minutes. If I was to help you in any way, or you have any ideas for future content, please leave a like and don't feel afraid to leave a suggestion in the comments. Take care of yourself and remember, almost all ideas at first will seem stupid. Take your steps attentively, but allow yourself to assume you'll do whatever new task poorly. It's better to start a new journey and do it poorly than to never do it at all.